In Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you could be an honourable knight, or a not-so-honourable thief. Pickpocketing, trespassing, sneaking and lockpicking are essential skills you'll need to learn if you want to steal things successfully, but some of these systems are pretty complex. In this video we'll go over the basics, plus some tips and tricks to help you master your thieving skills and get away with any heist that you set your mind to. Before we get into each specific skill, it's worth pointing out that early on you'll be directed to visit Kreyzl at the mill to hopefully gain access to the wedding. This quest quickly takes you down a thieving rabbit hole, complete with various ways to practice your skullduggery. So, if you're serious about getting better with this line of work, get Kreyzl's quest started.
You messed that one up. Try again?
He'll even offer you a bed in his house.
Why are you sneaking around here, you vagabond?
Let's go over the fundamentals. There are 3 stats in your player menu that relate to how stealthy you appear. These are conspicuousness, noise, and visibility, and they're mostly tied to your outfit. Wearing bright clothes will increase your visibility while decreasing your conspicuousness. Inversely, the darker your clothes are, the harder you are to see at night or in the shadows, but the more suspicious you'll look to anyone who comes across you. Equipping heavier clothes and armor will also contribute to a higher noise stat, indicating that you'll be noisier when moving around in that gear. We recommend finding your stealthiest loadout and saving it as one of Henry's 3 inventory loadouts so you can swap from conspicuous to inconspicuous with one press of the button. Crouching, like in most games, will make you harder to see and hear, so you'll want to be doing this anytime you're trying to escape people's attention. But much like wearing dark clothes in public, crouching and crawling around will draw more attention to yourself if you're spotted.
What are you trying to pull, you scoundrel?
So it's sometimes best to stay upright if you think you might be seen. NPCs will also notice if a door that's supposed to be closed has been opened, so try to cover up your tracks when you break and enter. You can also use various actions to distract people if they haven't seen you yet. While crouched, you can press R1 or right bumper to throw a stone. If it lands near someone and they hear it, they'll immediately go and investigate, giving you the perfect moment to sneak past them. Similarly, if you press triangle or Y while crouched, Henry will whistle, and anyone who hears will move towards the sound. That covers sights and sounds, but you'll even have to worry about smells.
Oh, what a stench. You ought to be ashamed.
If you haven't washed at a bathhouse or trough in a while, your character can smell a bit ripe, and this could give you away even if you're quiet and in the shadows. So do yourself a favor and have a bath before your next heist. As you can tell, NPCs take note of things that are out of the ordinary, and the game will sometimes inform you of your current social situation with various animated Hare symbols at the top of the screen. The symbols range from white to red, and slowly graduate from casual investigation to all-out combat. Making use of this system will help you to know if people are angry with you or investigating your antics. The yellow and orange markers, while a bit more serious, can usually be resolved if you step away from whatever activity you were caught doing. Sometimes it's better to do this to diffuse the tension and then return later once people have gone back to their normal routine.
Correct, Nightcrawler.
Pickpocketing is something you'll need to be doing during certain quests, or if you need a few more groschen to stay in the tavern overnight. Most NPCs have 2 pouches on their person, one on the front of their belt and one on the back. You can technically access both pouches from either side, but the one that's further away from you when you start the pickpocket will be harder to access in the minigame. It's highly unlikely to pull off a pickpocket from in front of a character without them noticing, but much easier when behind them.
What? What do you think you're doing?
To start a pickpocket, you need a lot of time to set up your deception, so make sure the NPC you're targeting is out of view of other characters. Hold down the interact button while looking at the pouch and a number will appear on the screen. The longer you hold down the button, the more time you will have to rifle through your victim's things. Be careful though, as this target will also be more likely to discover that you're in their pouch the longer that you hold this button. We found that 10 to 12 seconds was the sweet spot to aim for at the start of the game, where you likely won't be noticed and you have just enough time to grab 1 or 2 items without being seen. Oh, and once you start building the timer, you don't need to keep aiming at a person's pouch, you just need to stay close to them. Once in the minigame, the clock that you built up will start ticking down, and you need to use this circular menu to find what you want. Each item needs to be individually revealed and then purposefully stolen. Stealing an item takes time away from the counter, so the more things you steal, the less time you'll have. The goal is to exit this minigame via the door icon before the timer expires. If you haven't accessed this door and closed the minigame in time, the victim will notice what you were doing and you'll have to resolve the dispute with them.
I'm very sorry. This is just a big misunderstanding.
Some doors and chests will be locked, but if you have a lockpick and enough skill, you can crack these open anyway. Much like with our previous tips, make certain that you won't be seen while attempting this, as passers-by will report you if you're spotted opening a locked container. The way lockpicking works seems relatively simple, but the execution of each minigame can be really tricky. First, you need to move the right analog stick to find the correct spot for the cursor. The cursor gets larger when you're closer to the right spot and glows gold when you found it. You then need to turn the lock by holding L2 or left trigger while simultaneously keeping the position of the cursor in the same place inside the lock. The lock won't turn while the cursor is out of alignment, so in practice, you end up turning the lock by following the rotation with the cursor until either the lockpick breaks, you succeed, or you let go of the left trigger to reset the rotation. If you turn it far enough, the lock will open, simple as that. But if you take too long trying to find the cursor spot while rotating the lock, your pick can't break.
Damnation.
When this happens, it creates a decent amount of noise, and people nearby could be alerted to your activities, so be careful when your pick breaks and be ready to find cover. Letting go of left trigger before it breaks can prevent your pick from breaking, but it will keep its durability if you immediately reattempt the same puzzle. If you decide to fully quit out of the minigame and then restart it, your lockpick durability will also be reset. You can use this trick to preserve your lockpicks. You won't be able to pick locks of a certain difficulty if your thievery skill isn't high enough, and once you can attempt these more difficult locks, you may still struggle with them without more perk points allocated to make lockpicking easier. With this in mind, it may be worth you practicing on as many very easy lock difficulty levels as possible. As the need arises, you can always sneak up behind someone and attempt to knock them out. This is great for looting NPCs without doing the pickpocket minigame first. Knocking them out isn't guaranteed to work every time though, as stronger enemies have a chance to escape your chokehold. You can combat this by pressing the attack button when the swords icon appears, or pressing the block button when the shield icon appears. If you happen to be wielding a dagger, you can also opt to use it when approaching an enemy from behind for a stealth kill. This is fast and quiet, but will be especially concerning for anyone who comes across the body, as will anyone who's knocked out too, so maybe move your victims out of the way where people are less likely to find them.
I call it the art of thievery. It's simply an art.
We mentioned Kreyzl's quest at the start of the video. His place at Lower Samine Mill is quite the haven for petty criminal activity, and you can improve your skills here drastically if you choose. There's a chest here that you can practice lockpicking on that will conveniently relock itself, so retrying this lock will help you level up your proficiency with this skill. Same goes for practicing pickpocketing and knockouts with Hensel. Also, just near the chest in the barn, you can find yourself some lockpicks and a dagger that you're free to take and use. Now, once you have successfully stolen something, you're not out of the woods yet. If soldiers apprehend you for a different crime, they'll look for any stolen items you might be holding.
And if I find anything else on you that doesn't belong to you, I'll confiscate that too.
And you can even be randomly stopped in the street for a search depending on your reputation, so don't hang on to your stolen goods for too long. As you use certain skills more frequently, your proficiency with that skill increases. You can then use perk points to choose certain bonus effects for your different skills. So, be on the lookout for available perk points in the Thievery tab. You can't unlock every perk on the list though, and some perks lock you out from choosing others, so choose wisely, perhaps based on which minigames you find the hardest, or which tasks you prefer to do over others. That was the full rundown on stealing, sneaking, and slinking away. But there are so many more systems and mechanics in Kingdom Come Deliverance too, so be sure to check back in with our evolving wiki for more guides, walkthroughs, tips, and interactive maps. And for all